Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the first wave of the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe figures from Mattel. Now these are of course based on the brand new Netflix series that came out about 2 weeks ago. This is not Revelation, this is not the one that Kevin Smith did a couple months ago. This is a brand new, more youth-oriented He-Man. But it's kind of an interesting new dynamic. Obviously Adam has always used the power of Grayskull to transform into He-Man, but now Adam has kind of shared that power with like a core team of 5, which I think is kind of neat. And I don't want to go into like a whole review of the show, but basically, you know, there's Duncan and there's Teela, there's a new character whose name I can't. They call her Ram Mam. They turned Ram Man into a girl and called her Ram Mam, which I think is hysterical. I love that name. And I think her name is like Crash or something. They all kind of have like a normal name, like Adam does, and like Adam's He-Man, Duncan is Man at Arms. I think Crash becomes Ram Mam, Cringer, Battle Cat, and then I don't know if Teela's just always Teela. I don't think she has a name once she transforms, but it's kind of interesting. And again, spoilers if you haven't seen the original cartoon, but Teela is the daughter of Man-at-Arms and the Sorceress in the original cartoon. So if she's the daughter of the Sorceress, it would kind of make sense that she has latent magical ability. So they kind of just went and made her like a full-on witch or wizard, whatever term you want to use, sorceress, in this one. And I think that's really cool. I think that's kind of neat. Now, obviously, because all the characters are younger, Duncan is not her father in this one, so that connection's not there. They meet for the first time in the first couple episodes. But I thought it was a fun show. Honestly, I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. And the designs of the characters really grew on me over time the more I watched it, because the show just has kind of a subtle charm to it, and it makes everything just kind of like the characters are so fun, and the plot lines are kind of goofy, but there's a pretty good story, honestly, and I thought it was really well done. Just like I said, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And because of that, it made me want the toys. Like when I originally saw these designs, I was a little iffy, but after really liking the show and everything just kind of grew on me, I was like, I have to pick these up. So I got these at Walmart.com. I believe they are Walmart exclusive for the time being. I don't think they're anywhere besides Walmart. I've heard of people finding them in store. I got them on Walmart.com, and the listing just said He-Man and the Masters of the Universe assortment. They weren't like individually listed. So I just bought, I thought there were 4. I thought Trapjaw was also part of this wave. But if you look at the back of the cards, and we'll get into the packaging in a moment, it just shows Skeletor and Man-at-Arms. And then if you go to Skeletor's, it just shows He-Man and Man-at-Arms. So none of these show Trapjaw on the back of the packaging. So I'm guessing maybe he got pushed to a later wave. I mean, we kept seeing all these press photos that included Trapjaw, but he's not here. So I only have these 3. I'm assuming that's all that's out right now. If Trapjaw ever shows up, of course, I'm going to pick him up and I'll review him for you guys. So we have these 3. We have He-Man, we have Skeletor, we have Man-at-Arms. And so the packaging's pretty fun. You have the character up here in the upper left corner. You can see that that is unique for every card. You have Castle Grayskull from the new show here. And then you just kind of have this generic blue. I think the patterning is meant to look like his sword, but I'm not 100% sure there. You got some lightning effects, and then of course you've got He-Man here. It's weird to have a barcode in the front because they do also have one in the back. So I'm not sure what that's about. He's got power attack. They do have kind of the spring-loaded gimmick like the original toys back in the day. We'll get into that in a moment. And then on the back, you just have, you know, a picture of the figure and then him kind of, you know, blurrily doing his action poses of swinging from side to side. And then it just shows you the other 2 that are also available. And then you got a bunch of warnings and stuff going on here in a bunch of different languages. So, but yeah, like I said, packaging is pretty cool. I don't think it has like the charm of the original packaging, but I think, you know, every generation has to be marketed to differently, and this is probably more flashy and exciting for, you know, kids nowadays. You know, it's got the power attack real huge here on the front and everything. But anyway, I think it's cool. I think these all look pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get these 3 out of the box here, and we're going to take a closer look. So here are the figures out of the packaging. They have a real fun, cartoony feel to them, and I like the design a lot. They have a lot of nice paint applications and molded detail. Really looks quite good. So we'll take a close-up look at the head sculpt. I think it works, and like I said, it really does capture the likeness from the show. This is exactly what the character looks like. He's got kind of the classic traditional harness. He just happens to have a shirt underneath. He's kind of got the same loincloth, but he's got pants underneath. And they have this kind of cool design. It's almost like a microfiber or something. It's a really neat design there for the shirt and the pants underneath. I really like that. I think the color scheme all works. You have the gray with a little bit of red, that kind of dark blue. Really looks quite good. So I think the head sculpt is pretty nice. The head's actually painted really nice. It is on a ball joint, so you can look side to side. You can do a little bit of looking down, looking up, very limited. You kind of tilt a little bit side to side, but you certainly look side to side, no problem. Now, the shoulders just swivel. There's no hinge, so you can't go out to the side. You have a wrist swivel. You have a hinge in the waist here, so you can go out to the side. You can also rotate it a little forward, but the legs are all one solid piece. So there's no knee, there's no ankle. That's all solid. But how it does work here in the waist, he's got this kind of like spring-loaded feature. So if you remember the original toys, they had what they called like power punch, and you'd kind of like wind them up and then they would, you know, hit, and they had this like spring-loaded gimmick here. This feels really fun and solid, but it's still got the same kind of gimmick, but you can do it front to back as well as side to side, which is kind of neat. You can see he can store the sword here on his back. So if we take the power sword off, it's just got this little peg here and a little peg hole. And they actually did a pretty good job of painting this. You can see it. Now, I'm not sure. I want to say that I think this is molded in the gold and then the blade is painted silver. I believe that's what happened. But it's really clean. It's kind of hard to tell because there's no like paint smudging or anything like that. Nice detail, nice paint. Sword looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and pop it into his hand here. Fits in there very nice and snugly. And then we'll zoom out here. So if you want to do the slashing, you can kind of have him slashing down like that. You can kind of put the sword maybe like this and have him slash down. Or if you kind of want him to like backhand someone, you can just... I love it. So anyway, I think that's fun. I'm not a huge fan of spring-loaded gimmicks in toys. I'm really not, because usually over time they kind of, you know, fall apart. They start to degrade and everything like that. But this is nice, and you can get kind of like a nice range of motion here, but it still feels solid. And when you stand him up, he doesn't wobble. He doesn't move around. Like, yes, he has that gimmick, but it really doesn't feel like it's a problem. It's integrated really well. I also want to take a second. I like this new logo where it's made to look like a sword, but it's the H and the M for He-Man. I think that's kind of fun. So all in all, I think these are pretty nicely done. And all three of these have the exact same articulation. Now, Man-at-Arms is a little front-heavy just because his staff is so massive. But it's pretty nicely detailed. It's got some translucent blue plastic here on the top. You can see the face is sculpted underneath, but they have this kind of, like, whatever the translucent plastic they used for the window there. And I'm not sure if they sculpted it, like they put a head underneath and then they poured the plastic over top. But you can kind of see where, like, it's touching the parts of the plastic that are, you know, closest to it, like the nose. So unfortunately, it's a little bit of a mess there. It's kind of hard to see the face. But he is in there. But I like the design. I think overall, you know, it's giving me Samus Aran from Metroid vibes with the giant shoulder pads and the visor and everything. And again, it's all the same articulation. You know, the head's on a ball joint so you can look all around. Arms move the same way, wrists swivel. He's got the same torso thing going on here. And then again, the legs are a solid piece. But I really like the design. Like I said, a lot of molded in detail. Paint applications are pretty good. Now, he doesn't have as many, but I don't feel like he really needs as many. But he still looks good. Like I said, the face is a little bit of a bummer. You can see him inside, but it does kind of look like there's smudging inside the blue plastic, which is kind of weird, but I still think he's pretty cool. Skeletor is actually really neat. I like this guy a lot. A big, beefy Skeletor is not something we're super used to. I like this kind of like shroud that he wears over his head. I think the skeleton face looks pretty good. I would have liked a little bit of maybe a black wash or something over the teeth because they kind of blend in. If they could have painted them or done something. But the eyes look great. You got the red pupils on the black eyes. I just wish they could have done like a black wash or something on the teeth because they really get lost. But I like the kind of cracked green down here on his neck. You have the like top of his Havoc staff here as like a chest emblem. You can see the horns wrap around. And in this show, he's got a skeleton hand. So he's actually Keldor for a decent part of the show. And he kind of reaches his hand in this like fountain of power. And it kind of like mutilates his hand into a kind of skeletal hand here. So that's why. He's also got like a chain here that's molded in but not painted. So if you're wondering why he has a skeleton hand here, that is why. He can hold the Havoc staff in either hand. It is, you know, hollow underneath, which is kind of a bummer. But I think all the detail here on the legs, you know, he's got this really nice sculpting down here for the feet. All of the color up here I think is really nice. And again, he's got the same spring-loaded gimmick in the chest. So honestly, for $10 figures, I think these are pretty great. I really do like them a lot. And like I said, the designs are definitely not the norm, but they have grown on me, and I really think they're pretty cool. My only complaint really with any of these is just Duncan's face underneath the plastic visor, like the nose or these couple parts that kind of touch the plastic look like they're smudged or broken or worn or something, which is just kind of a bummer. But other than that, I think the figures look really good. I really do like them quite a bit, and I cannot wait to get a couple more of these. Like I said, there's supposed to be a Trapjaw as well. We've seen pictures of it. I don't know where he is. He doesn't seem to be at least available through Walmart yet. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I ordered 4 and they sent me 2 He-Man, so maybe they just did that, or I'm assuming they did it because there was only 3 to send me and they had to give me a duplicate. You know, it happens. But I don't know if Trapjaw's out yet, so I'll be on the hunt for him. But in the meantime, like I said, for $10, I think the price is definitely right for these. I think they're a lot of fun. I really like the spring waist gimmick a lot more than I thought I was going to. Because like I said, I'm not a huge fan of spring-loaded gimmicks on toys, but these kind of work. They feel solid. They don't feel like they're going to be flimsy. They don't feel like, you know, eventually the torso is going to fall off or anything like that. They feel integrated very well into the figure, and you really don't even see it, to the point that, you know, you just look at these figures, you can't tell right off the bat that they have a spring-loaded gimmick in the chest. So I think they've been done really well. Sure, it would have been nice if they had knee joints, but I also think because they're so top-heavy, just because that's how they're designed on the show, it makes sense to not give them knee joints for stability issues. I feel like if they had, you know, knee joints, that would give them the ability to kind of fall over more, and I think that's kind of something that they might have weighed. Again, this is pure speculation, but if I'm thinking they thought to get rid of that to give the toy more stability, I think that makes sense ultimately, because they did give them the really nice waist joints. So, but yeah, like I said, for $10 figures, I honestly think the paint applications, the articulation, the spring chest gimmick, the accessories, all pretty great. I definitely recommend them, and I will definitely be looking for some more whenever they come out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.